Well, welcome back. I had a lot of people comment on my last video that they'd like me to do another one. So here I am making another one. I figured, being as it was coming up to Easter time, that it would be a good thing to make a Simnel cake. So here we go. I've never made one before, so it's a first for me. Apparently Simnel cake, I looked it up on BritishFoodHistory.com, and what they said was that it was something normally eaten at Easter, but it was specifically kind of related to the fourth Sunday in Lent, which is also known as Mothering Sunday. Now, the interesting thing that I learned is that Mothering Sunday and Mother's Day actually aren't the same thing. Mothering Sunday was to do with when people used to go to their home church or their home cathedral on the fourth Sunday, and they probably saw their mum as well, but that was a tradition, and so that was the main reason for having that cake at that time. They had that cake at that time. The other thing is, obviously, you know, with a Simnel cake, it's got marzipan in it. It's got marzipan in the middle, and it's got marzipan on the top, and on the top are these little balls as well, and there are 11 balls to represent the disciples of Jesus. Now, those of you who know will know that there were 12 disciples, but actually they take Judas off, so there are actually only 11 on the cake. So I've done a lot of prep already, because actually, you know, health warning, this one takes quite a long time to make, so just be aware that it'll take you some time if you decide to do this one. I got my recipe from bbcgoodfood.com, and looked up their Simnel cake, and we're just going to give it a go. So I have prepared a lot in advance. So in here I have got 250 grams of mixed dried fruit, which I have added in the juice and zest of 1 lemon and a couple of tablespoons of water, which I then popped in the microwave for 2 minutes, and then I've let with a cling film covering, and then I've let it cool down. So that's had to completely cool before we're able to use it, otherwise it'd probably scramble the eggs we put in later, which would be interesting. While that was cooling, it gets you to do other things. So it recommends that you butter or grease and double line your baking tin, so 20 centimetre baking tin, and it recommends that you double line it and do that. Now, I cheated because I've got 2 of these pans. You're supposed to take the bottom of this out, and you're supposed to take 1/3 of your marzipan, and you're supposed to roll it out. I've rolled it out and I've cut round this one so that I could have that one already greased and ready to go. And I'll probably use this again later when we go for the top. So I have my disc of marzipan, which is going to go in the middle of my cake. So the next thing to do is get your butter and your sugar and cream them together. So I have got 250 gram pack of butter, so a whole pack of butter, slightly softened. Don't do what I do and try to mix it too hard, it's a pain. So make sure you get it softened up first. And then it's 200 grams of light brown soft sugar. Okay, so that's all in there. Right. Then we have got a few things which we will add. So we've got zest of a lemon. We've got 100 grams of halved cherries. I'll be adding in a teaspoon of my lovely vanilla essence with my shaky hands, as per usual. And then there'll be some 4 eggs, which I've got in a little cup here. And then the rest of the sort of mixed dry ingredients. So we've got plain flour, 175 grams, 100 grams of ground almonds, a teaspoon of baking powder. We've got mixed spice in there. We've got 2 teaspoons full of that. So I think that's the main, yeah, that's the bit. So we'll go ahead and pop it all together and see what happens. So, as I say, got my sugar mixed up. So really a case of just adding everything else. So add the eggs. Now I've got a spatula and I've got a wooden spoon, just to see whichever one is gonna actually make it come together the best, really. So we'll see what happens. I might start with the spoon and see where we get to. As I say, new recipe for me, and I was completely unaware of the history of this cake. I just thought it was an Eastery type cake. I didn't realise it had anything to do with disciples or Mothering Sunday, and I definitely didn't know that Mothering Sunday and Mother's Day were two different things. That's sort of a more recent thing that's come along with the rise of sales, I suppose, wanting to make sales, and obviously different parts of the world have different different thoughts on Mothering Sunday or Father's Day and things like that. So we all have our different traditions. This happens to be a pretty British one. So I'm just going to add in my vanilla essence. There's my teaspoon. So I'm going to give this all a really good mix. Everything's in there now. Kind of is a bit like a Christmas cake, and in essence it smells like a Christmas cake. So I suppose it's like having the leeway to make something really nice right in the middle of your Lent, where you've been having a fast, and you get this Sunday to have a day off. But equally, I think this is probably a cake that I'm not going to eat by myself. I can eat a whole cake, but I'll probably share with my mum and possibly the rest of the family. I am hoping it will last well, but the recipe does say that it will last quite well in a container for up to a week. So or in a sealed tin for a week. So I'll mix all this round. So once you've given it all a good mix, it looks pretty standard, Christmas cakey type. We're going to half fill this tin. So not so easy. And try not to do what I do, which is always get something on the edge of the tin, because it will burn. Now, while I'm doing this, I have actually got my oven on, and it's preheating at gas mark 2. I have gas mark, but let me have a look. That's 150 degrees C. Ooh, yeah, or 130 if you've got a fan. If you're lucky enough to have a fan oven, make the most of that. So I'm just popping it right round the bottom, just making sure that the whole thing gets covered. I am a messy baker, by the way, so and this is a pretty messy recipe if you're not neat and tidy like me. So might need to get your washing up hat on later. Alright, so I'm quite happy with that. That's about half. I'm going to pop my little marzipan disc in. I've decided to make it easy for myself. I'd roll it onto parchment paper just so that it was easy to flick out and in. So hopefully, she says. So there we are. And voila, one marzipan in the middle. Now I'm going to cover the whole of the rest of it with the mixture. This should be a little bit easier because I can just flip and tip, get the rest of this in. Smells wonderful. One of the best bits about cooking is the smells. So I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to the tops of cakes. I get a bit fussy. So what I'll probably do in a minute is, you can see it's a bit lumpy and bumpy. I do tend to get a cup with some boiling water in it, and I do tend to use the back of a metal spoon and just smooth out the top of them, because obviously when I put my marzipan and my apricot jam first and then my marzipan on later. I don't want it to be all lumpy bumpy, I want it to be as smooth as I can. So this is gonna head into the oven, and yeah, it takes quite a long time. It's not, it's a 2 hour jobby. So, you know, find yourself something else to do. 2 hours later, I'm gonna come back, pop a little skewer in the middle. If it comes out clean, great, I'm gonna pop it out the oven. If it's not, another 10 to 15 minutes, I'd probably say 15. Skewer again, different place, check, see how it is. Once your skewer's coming out clean, take it out, leave it in the tin for 15 minutes, and then you can take it out and put it on a cooling rack. So, let's see how it turns out. I'll let you know. Take care.